Hello, people of the internet. This is a CD player. This crusty, dusty, and musty looking thing. That's a phrase my daughter uses. She's 10. Um, this crusty, dusty, and musty looking piece of equipment is called a CD player. I bought this brand new 20 years ago. Now, what a CD player did was you had these things. These are called CDs. This is a band called the Farts. They're a hardcore punk band from the Oregon, Portland area. They clearly didn't take themselves very seriously. This band is most notable for having Duff McKagan as their bass player. He went on to be in Guns N' Roses, and back a billion years ago, or 20, or 30, you would buy these at a thing called a record store that at the time mostly sold these CDs. Maybe some of them sold records, but not a lot of them. And then you would buy it. You would then, and come in this case, you would take it out of this case, and you would put it in your very dusty CD player because it doesn't get a lot of use. And you would play it in here. And as I said, I bought this a long time ago. And the review is not about this, because no one cares about this. I don't think anyone cares about this. Maybe someone cares about this. I don't even care about this, quite frankly. So I bought this so I could play CDs 20 years ago, back when I was still buying CDs. And I still have lots of CDs. I just don't usually listen to them. But you may have heard that CDs are making a comeback, and I don't know to what degree that's actually true. Maybe the CD is going to be worth a lot of money. I used to have this on vinyl. There was a 7-inch and an LP. I know I think the 7-inch was called Because the World Effing Stinks. So that's why it's called. It still stinks. But I digress. Pretty far. And then you would press play. And then on the back side of this guy, moving heavy stuff around, you have these connections that are currently being obfuscated by this cord. So let's move the cord. Boom. You have not a lot. You have a cord that's built in. You have RCA cables, or outs, that everyone knows. And then there's this thing. And what that says is optical. And so for 20 years, I've always considered doing something with that. And what you can do with that is you can hook up an external DAC. A DAC is I think, digital audio converter? I don't know. I listen to mostly records. I think that's right. And if you open this, you might see inside is a laser. So this has a built-in digital audio converter. Digital analog converter? Digital audio converter? Whatever. Who cares? No one's here to hear about the... If you want to know what DAC stands for, Google it. Maybe I'll put it here, what it stands for. It clearly means something. But over 20 years, I never got around to actually connecting that to a DAC because I just didn't care. It sounds fine. I mean, it's a CD player. It sounds fine. I never had any complaints. And then, honestly, one of my concerns was when I bought this, I bought around the same time, a Music Hall MMF 5.1, I think it was, turntable, and I didn't want this to outshine that turntable, which it probably did, because that was an okay turntable, but it was not a great turntable. So, after many years, I finally got around to getting a DAC, and this is the Schiit Modi 3 Plus. And what you do is you pull that little plug out. You get one of these guys. This is a optical cable. and it has little caps on it so that it doesn't get crusty, dusty, and musty inside of there, because that'd be bad because it's optical. And then right here, there's like a little garage door that you just jam this into. And then boom, you now go, now it's bypassing its internal DAC, it sends everything from the laser into here. And then on the front, there's some, they have an off button, which that would be off. And then this would be that. And then the top switch, I don't know what that does. That either, maybe that, the micro USB out, or maybe that. One of those two. But I don't need, we're not here talking about that stuff. We're talking about purely using this as a DAC for a CD player. Because I admittedly have no other use for a DAC. I don't really do a lot with digital music. I don't really listen. I listen to streaming. You know, I'll listen to Spotify at work on headphones, or I'll stream Apple Music in my car. But I tend to not listen to it in my stereo system. And I don't really have a good explanation for that other than I don't care. I'm mostly into records. And I still have CDs. So let's talk about CDs for a second, why they are coming back. And I've kind of always guessed that they might come back. Because in this age of streaming, there's going to come a point, and that point might be actually now, that I have no idea if this is available on Apple Music. And maybe you want to listen to this. I should have probably picked a better example of something that someone would want to listen to. But like maybe you want to listen to this and it's not on Apple Music, or it's not on Spotify, or wherever the heck else you would stream something. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to buy it on record, or you're going to have to buy it on CD, because a lot of things never came out on record. And what do you have to do? Now you have to buy a CD player. And if you want to make your CD player sound better, the best way to do it is a DAC. And is this the best DAC out there? I don't know, but it's $100. So you take your chances. So I finally got this, and I took my chances. And it works pretty well. There's an immediate difference in sound. Everything sounds more forward. It seems like there's more of everything. I don't know, the soundstage sounds about the same. I almost feel like this is a little bit recessed. This DAC internally sounds a little bit more recessed, so it might actually sound a little bit wider, the soundstage in this, maybe, than that. But what I did notice going in between these two is that this seems to smooth out some high mids and high frequencies that I didn't even realize listening to this were a little grainy. So big ups for that. In terms of bass and mids, I don't know. This sounds more in your face than this, and not necessarily in a bad way. I don't want to infer that it's a bad thing. And maybe on different CD players, they're going to have different quality DACs, and so maybe your mileage will vary here. Like maybe adding this will make it sound 100 times better, and maybe like in this case, it doesn't sound 100 times better, but it definitely sounds better. So if you're listening to a lot of CDs, or you're thinking about getting, look, November 2002, that's a long time ago. So I probably bought it maybe in 2003. So maybe it's only 19 years old. Sorry, I got ADD, I get distracted. What's my point? I don't know. So if you're listening to a lot of CDs, you want to get into CDs, or you have a CD player, and you're like, I wish it sounded a little better, try this out. It's like $100. Like, you're going to have to wait a while. They're back ordered because they're super cheap and sound pretty good. But I think it's probably worth it if you're listening to a lot of CDs. In terms of other DAC things that you could do with a DAC. I don't know what those are, so I'm not even going to guesstimate on those. I wouldn't want to lead anyone the wrong way. But in terms of hooking this up to a CD player, yes, 100% improvement. I don't think anyone would say it doesn't sound better than this, but it might not be worth $100 to everyone for that sound improvement. And I guess that might be where I'm at, because I listen to this maybe a couple times a year, so maybe I don't need a $100 component to make this sound better if I'm not listening to it. But I wanted to try it because I've been waiting for 20 years to try it out, and I did. And Schiit Modi 3. Did I call it the Manny earlier? If I did, I'm an idiot. Modi 3 Plus. I think they might even have a newer version of this that came out as I was waiting for this, and then I got the 3 Plus. There might be a newer version that's not the 3 Plus. 3E maybe? I don't know. But if you got $100 laying around and a CD player you want to sound better, try it out. And the resale on these used are pretty good because it takes so long to get them. So people who are impatient are willing to pay about the same price for it. So you don't, you lose a little bit for attempting it, but not a lot. So get out there and try something. Go listen to some music, whether it's on CD or streaming or vinyl. Have an interesting life. All right, take care.